Jason Brown is the founder and owner of the Misfits Collective, which helps founders and CEOs grow their companies from a place of higher consciousness. He invests and coaches in multiple startups and companies and leads multiple coaching groups that help people to make decisions for their businesses that are aligned with their purpose and values. After accomplishing a lot of external successes in the tech industry, Jason embarked on an inward journey 5 years ago, which has had a massive impact on his life and the way he makes decisions. So welcome.
Thank you. Awesome to be here.
Yeah. So my first question is the Misfits Collective. Is that a reference to the band, or where did you come up with that name?
Well, actually, it's funny because I see entrepreneurs that do this all the time. I was trying to come up with my own name and branding for my company and my mission and my dharma, although I didn't know it was dharma at the time. And my previous own version of that was hilarious. And then I actually met professionals that do this for a living. And when they heard what I was up to and what I wanted to do, they're like, okay, we'll get back to you with what we think your brand could be and all these epic ideas. And they're like, but first, can we just show you something we've been sitting on? And sure enough, the lead designer had created the Misfits Club years ago. And when he showed me the brand, and he's like, the whole time I've been listening to you talk, he's like, you're such a misfit. He's like, I don't know why I created this many years ago. He's like, but I've been sitting on this, wondering, what do I do with this epic brand? And when he showed it to me, I was like, that's it. Oh my gosh, like, how did that happen? And so it was like one of those nudges that we both got, and he got it years in advance. And when he showed it to me, I was like, whoa, like that's it. And then I added the collective because I just believe like we're meant to rise together. And through a lot of my journeys and psychedelic journeys, that theme just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And so for me, it was like serving the collective through the misfits, but requiring to find and attract the other misfits that are out there. Because I think all of us in some way, we always feel like we're a little bit of a misfit. And yet when we congregate, we're like, oh, there's others just like me. So it was like that. But it was really interesting that I had to surrender my own creative process to an actual professional where that's their gift. And the level of epicness between their gift and mine in that regard was so obvious and laughable. And yet, and I see this all the time with entrepreneurs. It's like we talk ourselves into doing these things when we know it's not our thing. And it was just like, it's always a perfect example when people love the brand and they see what it is and they ask me about it. It just reminds me, that was a perfect time where I was forcing something that was clearly meant for someone else's gift to shine through.
Yes. Oh, that's such a common thing for business, especially, I mean, when you start out, you're the only one in it and you have to do everything. And then for me, it's a sales thing. Like, oh, well, it was also for accounting, I hire people and then they just can't do it the way I do it. And had to get out of that mindset because I was in my own way, making my own bottleneck, and allowing people to do it their way and just leading them when they were lost. Yeah. So
I call it, I feel like friction is a gift. And it took me a long time to realize that. It's like when you feel the friction in how you're expressing. So I look at life as like we're just constantly expressing our consciousness. And so business is one of the ways we do that. And what I realize is when I hit friction, that means someone else is meant to fill that in for me. It's like that their gift will fill that in. And trusting that has been just a fascinating journey. But when you trust that and release the control around that, just it forms so much more beautifully than you could ever plan or predict. And that is a huge place where I see people are really struggling with applying spirituality to their life in a practical way. It's like when the friction comes, we're taught to plow through it. We're taught to be resilient, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8, effort, break through the wall, get into warrior mode, all those things. And I believe the exact opposite. I think the effort and the strength comes from trusting where your gift is and having the courage to stay in that and allow others with their gift to match with yours and rise together. And that's where the strength and the efforting comes in. And so what I realized now, that's a perfect example of I was efforting out of alignment, not in my flow. And sure enough, when I met the people that do this in their flow, where that's their dharma and their gift to the world, it was so obvious and it matched so beautifully. And then combined, we were stronger. And I feel this is all the time. So I tell, one of the things I coach all the entrepreneurs is like, when you hit the friction, immediately look at it as, what is the gift here? Because the friction is telling you to go back to your dharma, to go back to your purpose. It's not telling you to plow through the wall. The wall's there for a reason. The wall is not your path.
That's the purpose of a collective,
Yes.
that we have our gifts that we need to focus on.
Yes, and we talk ourselves out of doing our gifts full time.
We sure
and
do.
Usually, and the reason for that is almost always related to some sort of lack or scarcity or victim mindset that's creeping in. I can't afford it. I need to control it. I'm supposed to persevere. I'm the CEO or the founder. I'm supposed to, work 20 hours a day. Like all those stories that we tell, when you really peel those back, they all fall away when you really ask the question, are you or your higher self in this moment? And the friction is usually yelling at you saying, no, you're not, because you're not supposed to be. It's not a flaw, it's a gift. And then trust that you can magnetize in the other gifts to rise together. And that, for most founders, is one of the hardest things that they struggle through. But when they start to get it, there's massive breakthroughs because your trust starts to build. And then it releases you to actually have more freedom to spend in your gift, in your dharma, in your purpose. And it's like we're all guilty. It's almost like we have this this fear, the shame, or the guilt about being in our gift full time.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's funny when you actually get to the point, which is, it seems to be very difficult, but it's always like one simple thing that tips you over the edge, and it's like, oh, I don't actually need that story. Oh, something I learned a long time ago that's actually not true. Then it's so easy to just let go and let it happen. It's funny because my sister and I were talking yesterday about like the first summit that we were at. I lost 40 pounds between the two summits.
Amazing.
And it's only in 2 months. And it's like, well, how did that happen? And I was like, I think I just changed my beliefs from this is hard and it has to take forever to this is easy and it's just going to happen. I mean, and then it did. So it's funny how we just we're conditioned to believe in hard work and struggle, and that the struggle is noble, and that being poor is noble, and none of that's true. The people who give the most have the most. So being poor and stuck and struggling just makes everybody else have to be poor and stuck and struggling.
I look at it as we're always in alignment. So I hear this a lot, especially in the spiritual community. It's like, oh, I'm out of alignment. I got pulled out of alignment. And I'm like, actually, no, you're always in alignment, but you may not be in alignment with your higher self. You are receiving the alignment that you're putting out. And so I believe the order is that your energy precedes you. So everything you're doing, your energy goes out first. So if it's your lower self or victimhood consciousness portraying itself and you're expressing through that, you're going to get more of that. And so that's the alignment you're going to receive. So like you're talking about with the weight loss, when you shifted to higher consciousness and the confidence and the courage to display that, the field around you, including your own self, had to reflect that back.
Yeah. And it's very exciting to find out that you can actually have what you want and that it's not going to be torture and slavery.
Yes. One of the things I've noticed is I was living my life very linearly. And it's like, you begin and you go through life and you go through the struggle and you have some of these up and downs, but it's like this linear progression towards the end. And it's like, we're always chasing something outside of ourselves. We're always climbing the mountain, and maybe you get to the peak and you go up and down the mountain a little bit, but you're still hopeful that you're moving towards, the mountaintop. And what I realized is that life isn't going that way. So it's not a horizontal linear progression. We think it is. But actually, when you move up realms of consciousness where you're living in a higher version of yourself, it's actually vertical. And when you start moving up vertically from that lower level of consciousness, which is like that victim consciousness where life is happening to me, when you switch out of life is happening to me to life is happening for me, the change and the rapid ascension is unbelievable. And it's like, as you move up, everything you were holding on to in that kind of victim life happening to me, it starts to melt away because you can't even hold it because it's the lower frequency. And so that even happens physically to us quite often as we actually start to love life more, where we realize, oh, wow, this is all for me. So the friction is for me. The friction is the gift to move me back towards my true self, which is to be in alignment, expressing our higher self. That means moving into your dharma, into your purpose, where you can actually feel lit up and you feel like you're in that flow. That's when you're actually creating the energy that you're sending out. That's when you're actually moving from feeling like you're trapped in the matrix, where the matrix is happening to me. You start realizing, oh, wait, there's a game being played here. It's actually happening all for me. And, things like plant medicine and others can start to help you realize, like, oh, wow, that trauma in this mysterious, mystical, sometimes profound ways, you start to see how it served you, how it made you stronger, how it made you better, how it made you open your heart more, things like this. And then as you move up the pyramid of consciousness and you shed that density, what you put out starts to reflect back. But we're so used to linear that we think that when we get something good, that around the corner is the tiger or the something wrong or the darkness is coming around every single corner, because that's what we were taught. And it's like, no, when you move up those realms, the lower self is still there. You're just honoring it in a different way, where it's like, hey, I'm not the victimhood. I'm not living there like I was before. I honor my path. I honor what happened to me. I see it in a new light. And as you see it in a new light, you become lighter. And then you move up and then you start realizing, wait a minute, I can actually create my version of the matrix by having my energy precede me. And I see this a lot in the spiritual community. We get bursts of this, where it's like, oh, we start to realize, like, wow, I'm actually in control of my energy. I can do this. I'm getting these bursts of downloads through breath work or plant medicine, and getting bursts of understanding what my dharma and my purpose is. But then we go back to living linearly and we think, oh, because I had this burst of awesomeness and alignment, that the shadow must be around the corner, even though I already dealt with my shadow. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It works vertically, which means when you move up, you can stay living there. It's not the absence of the shadow. It's just that your strongest frequency is running the show now. And you're honoring the past. You're honoring those things that we used to think were flaws or things that happened to us in a different way. We're re-alchemizing, our entire lives. And then when you do that, you literally shed density. That's what's been amazing to me. I too had complete body transformation as I started going deeper. It's like amazing. It's the best weight loss drug on the planet is actually doing the work. Right?
It sure is. Sure is.
Right? It's shocking, but it's a density change. And I really see that. And you can really start to feel the energy precede you. And we can't serve more than one master. So the question I always say to people is like, when they feel out of alignment, it's like, well, alignment to what? If it's your higher self, then yeah, let's get back to there. What are the things you need to do in your life to go back to those moments where you've experienced that flow, that higher self that shows up? And it's like, that's where the work is. Do the modalities to clear off the tower, to get back to your higher self, and then send your energy ahead of you, so that as life keeps coming to you, you've already predicted how it's going to show up because you've already sent your energy ahead. And that there doesn't have to be the tiger around the corner because you've already dealt with it, right? And if you're looking for it and you're waiting to be the victim of it,
You'll find
guess what you're going to get. Hello, tiger. Right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating because it's like completely counterintuitive to how we're taught. And I think it's actually beautiful once you get it, because it's like a cosmic joke. It's like we're taught all these other ways to live that keep us in our lower selves. And we fight with it and we struggle with it and we persevere with it. And then people succumb it, but they think because they succumbed it eventually, that all the struggle was the actual playbook. But it's like, no, it's not. It's once you release it, you don't have to run those plays anymore.
Yeah, I like that analogy. You are running plays.
Totally.
And I think a lot of that came from religion, and also just came from wounding in our caregivers, where they were just repeating what was handed to
For
them.
sure.
And religion and the machine of business wanting to keep employees, keep churning out employees, and so that we have people who are not necessarily empowered, but people who are going to live for our dream, make us money, and not connect deeply with themselves and have their own purpose, which is unnecessary. I mean, the world can function on a much higher level than that, with all people being in their power without slavery and such.
But it's at this where we go back to the beginning of the conversation, where a lot of times we're directionally correct. So we're intellectually living from our heart. It's like we think we're doing the right thing, and then we get out of frequency. And so that's when that friction comes. How many people do you know that when they feel friction, their first thought is, oh, this is because this isn't my higher self's path. Let me go clear off my tower, get into alignment, and then magnetize in who's going to show up to help and fill this in. Most of us don't look at it that way. When we hit friction, we attract more friction, and it pulls us out of alignment. That's how you can see so many epic leaders in any art form, whether it's business or music or actual art, right? Or politicians or whatever. You know, a lot of them, they go into it with this altruism. So it's like that intellectual heart center thinking, I'm going to do this. This is going to be great. And then they get in there and they're partially in their alignment, but then all the ways that they're meant to learn these lessons start to show up, and it pulls them out of alignment. But they're still in alignment, but they're just moving into their lower self, because until you deal with that, you're going to experience more of it. And I see this again and again. It's like we started on the path, especially in businesses, right? It's like the reason we did it was so pure, and then we move out of the alignment so fast. One of the things I find the most amusing is, you know, I travel the world a lot. I'm in masterminds like with you in Fit for Service, and I think Fit for Service is a great example, because the collective there, the trainers, they're also in their higher selves and they're doing the work beside us. I love it.
Yeah.
I've been at a lot of other retreats and masterminds around the world, or spiritual communities or spiritual centers, and the modalities that are being delivered can help us all unlock new levels of our higher selves. And yet the efforting and the construction around the delivery of those modalities, generally meaning the businesses wrapped around the container of the delivery, is totally in lower consciousness and lower victimhood or lack, right? It's like they're not in abundance. So it's like they're helping us get cracked open, but the business itself is totally in this other realm. And this is a repeated pattern that I see all the time. It's we want to go so deep into the higher self modalities. We want to bring them all to life, but then the minute we start to construct it, we go right into our own lower self stories and victimhood and warrior mode and efforting. And it's like we forget the rules. It's like the rules don't change because the way we're expressing our art form is changing, right? So the same thing when a poem comes through you or music flows through you, or, you know, sometimes athletes talk about this. I've been there back in my glory high school days, you know, when the shot just keeps going in, right? You're in that flow state. When we're in our flow state, it's beautiful. But when the friction shows up, what we mostly do is we fight it versus going back to clearing off the tower. And so that's really the order of how I've changed my life. It took me until my 50, I'm now 50. It really took that long to figure it out. It's like I had life backwards the whole time, where it's like when I would see friction, I'm like, oh, I guess I got to effort. I got to plow through.
Yeah.
Right. And you could spend a decade plowing through stuff that's not for you.
Right.
Right. And then if you just had the courage to stay in your alignment and trust it's going to work out, it moves so much faster. And it's like ridiculous how my life has shifted so much in the last few years. Putting in less efforting. It's completely counterintuitive. But the strength and the courage comes from pausing. So I never used to treat pause and stillness as a courage action.
Yeah.
And now I think it's like the cheat code. So when I can't feel what to do next, or I can't feel like what is my higher self asking me to do, or when I hit friction. So when I hit friction now, I stop and pause and go back to clear off my tower. Go do one of those modalities that can light me up to give me clarity in that stillness. And I think like the action of stillness is so beautiful. And it's the thing that entrepreneurs should practice the most. It's like stopping and being still is the best action for your business. So you can receive and get clarity on what is the frictionless path, and trusting that that's actually allowed and possible. And it's supposed to be frictionless, not the struggle. And just because you had some success doesn't mean the struggle is next. It's like, no, you have the cheat code. It's okay to live in the beautiful cheat code of life.
Yeah. And so, I mean, for me, I didn't ever learn that rest was acceptable. You know, that was a big no. We stay busy. We are always doing chores around the house, or we're working, or we're doing religion, or, you know, and time for rest and play was just maybe an afterthought, if anything at all. And I ended up burning myself out. And, you know, it's really hard to do anything and be successful. Starting a business was the biggest gift I've ever given myself, because I would have still been doing that grind in corporate. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, but to have to, it stripped away all these masks and stories and identities. And I guess I want to go to plant medicine with that, because I haven't done much plant medicine. But we went to that party after Fit for Service, and I tried mushrooms, and I didn't really take that much. I didn't need it. I don't have a tolerance. And it was amazing to me, because I've done a lot of work. I've been doing it for 3-4 years, all different modalities, as far as just meditation, journaling, movement, and therapy kind of stuff. But I was kind of stuck. And that night at that party, I got to just be the observer of myself like I have never been before.
Yes.
And stand outside and watch myself try to interact with people and try not to interact with people, and all of my shyness and at one point my friend Angela was like, I was sitting under the stairs, like being my usual rebellious, I don't want to be here, I'm serious and proper self. And she said, she starts laughing and she says, oh, Reanna's over here still trying to live in polite society. Give it up, girl. And I just started laughing and crying uncontrollably at once. And I was like, that is exactly what I'm doing. So funny. And then the rest of the night, just like watching myself go in and out of that. And it was a great time. And it was fun. It was hard. Time slowed way down. But by the time that was over, I was done with that stuff. And that was one of my big blocks, like marketing. I will not hire marketers because it's not effective. And I just hired a marketing team that is quite an investment. And I know that it's going to work, and I have no doubt. But sometimes you need something like that to just break through that last bit, because you could be in therapy for years, but if you don't have the body connecting through it, you might not make a lot of progress.
Yes, I believe all those I believe all the bridges are valid. So all those modalities can help you and crack you open in different ways. And we focus a lot on the modality itself. You know, so people they always want to know my protocol. What's my morning routine, or what's my psilocybin routine, or you know, we brag about, you know, how many trips we've done, or you know, how many grams I took, or blah blah blah. And it's like, yes, those things are all important. Setting is so important. But what's really important is, what is the messages you got when you're in the modality and you tapped into your higher self, or you tapped into the field, you tapped into source, whatever words you want to use, or God spoke to you, or the spirits, or the cosmic elves that some people see, whatever it is, right? There's lots of different ways to receive these messages. And then the real question is, what are you implementing? What are you integrating? And as I've traveled in all these communities and done an obscene amount of modalities myself on a daily basis, I've discovered which ones really help me crack open and stay open. Or when I need to burst, when I get into my lower self and I'm into my own wobble and into my own nonsense, It's like, I know which ones to go to first. Typically breath work and walking are my two big ones. I really find listening to Paul Selig, who's a channeler that Aubrey works with a lot. Listening to him gives me incredible downloads immediately. But I find like breath is the fastest way to get some messages. But the messages are irrelevant if we don't apply them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really encourage people to do is like when you have one of these moments, whether it's ecstatic dance or breath work or meditation, or you got really cracked open during a ceremony, those are all epic. But what are you integrating? Because that's what the messages are for. And I think it's amazing that it can come in all these different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you applying? Like, what's the through line to those messages? What's the lesson that you're applying? And that's where I've recognized like you can be doing the spiritual work, but if you're looking at it as something to accumulate, because we're trained that way, it's like, let's go get the most toys. You can collect the most modalities and badges of, I did ayahuasca 300 times, or I took the most grams of mushrooms, or I do breath work every day, or I crushed my morning routine. It's like, that's great. What did you implement? And the difference I notice in all these communities that I travel through, it's the people that are really honest about applying the downloads, listening to the nudges, listening to the omens, the whispers, the messages, and take action on that, take aligned action on the messages. Their transformation is so much more rapid, like just so much faster and lighter. And they start to move to the other side. They start finding a lot more of this humorous.
Yeah.
And you'll notice when you listen to some of the people that we think are kind of the gurus, like the Alan Watts or the Ram Dass or Sadhguru, or whoever you like, not everyone loves all these guys, but when you listen to them, you'll notice that they're still laughing about how flawed they are, but they're also deeply, deeply finding all of this hilarious in some way. It's like they laugh at their own programming. They laugh at when they flip between higher and lower self. They laugh at the cosmic joke that's all there. And I think that's really true, is having done enough and gone into my own nonsense, there's always some humor to it. Even if in the moment it doesn't feel like it, eventually, doesn't matter the medicine or the art form, there's some sort of cosmic joke happening because we're just learning to go back to what we already are. That's the joke. It's not outside of us.
Yeah.
It's like we started in this perfection, and then we came out with, and then we start immediately get stuff layered on top of us. And it's like going back to those layers and start to peel them off, to go back to ourselves. It's like that saying of we're all walking each other back home. But it's like, I don't know, and I'll never understand your trauma, right? It's like the worst thing that ever happened to someone is the worst thing that ever happened to them. And, you can't stack rank the trauma. Right? It's like whatever was your worst thing was your worst thing, and my worst thing is my worst thing. It's like I can't know you in trauma, but I can know you in truth, because that's where we're all the same. We're all the same at that love frequency, the source frequency, the collective, the truth. We're all the same there. We're all one. That's where we're all one. But then we layer on our own individual stories on top of that. And then the journey is to find those and uncover them. And every time I get downloads, it comes with humor, because I believe it's literally saying, hey, don't forget, you already know all this. You already are all this. You've layered these stories on top. Why don't we unravel a few? Oh, and here's a nudge to help you along the way. And so it's applying the knowledge, the wisdom that you got in these modalities, and to use that for the integration, to get closer to who you already truly started as.
Yeah. And how did you start down this path?
It was two things were happening simultaneously. One, in my business career, I was around so many people that were successful in the ways that we typically look at that, right? Yeah. So I'd been on the jets. I've been around billionaires. I was just coming out of a startup that, went from early stage to multiple billions. So in Silicon Valley, like it was a win of wins, right? It was backed by one of the biggest VCs in the world, Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z. So like for all intents and purposes, I was around the pinnacles of success. And as I was around people that were ahead of me on the path, on the wealth accumulation, the success path, that pride of, really crushing it, I realized, wow, like this drum beat is so loud that this is not the path, because I'm watching those that seem to be further ahead. I'm not, again, going back to living linearly. I was like, wow, those guys are way ahead of me on the mountain. And I'm already way up this mountain, because I can turn around and see how far ahead I am of most people I knew, but I still knew other people that were like way further ahead. And I looked at them and I'd hang around them and I'd be like, none of us have this figured out. We are not at inner peace at all. But at the same time, I was already starting to accumulate some more inner work and starting to understand that. And so then I started going on the inner journey, because I realized that those ahead weren't. They were ahead materially, and incredibly materially, so successful in that way. But even they were struggling with, is this really it? Is this really it? And so when I started to go inward,
how did you find that you needed to go inward? I mean, what started that? Do you remember?
Yes. When I left that startup, it was a spectacularly negative ending, where I was just like, I can't do this life anymore. And it was just coming off. We had massive wins where we were actually celebrating in Hawaii, incredible success. But that whole trip, we were in Lanai, which is one of the most beautiful islands in the world. And we were supposed to be celebrating just how much we crushed it. And I realized there, like, wow, like there's really nothing left to obtain here. And yet I feel the void. And then the drum beat got louder. And then a few months later, one of my friends that I helped to join the company, he was really focused on moving up the internal management ranks. He became my boss and subsequently fired me. And I was like, okay, if you want messages, here's a great message that this is not the path. And I was just like, all right, I'm late 40s. And what am I doing? Because I've already seen what's potentially ahead of me. And that's not winning. It looks like winning. It smells like winning, right? $5,000 a night suites are awesome. Jets are awesome. Money's awesome. There's lots of epic events and things that we got to do because of that. But on each of those, that drum beat just kept getting louder, that whisper of, you're on the wrong mountain. This isn't the way. And stepping away, I got offered within hours to go to all the other companies that smelled and looked like us for just as much epic package and incentive. And I just started getting that whisper of, don't do it. You know that path, you know where it leads. There's another way for you to go. And from there, I started to look at more spiritual containers. That led me to doing some work in Haiti, helping to build a school, because I thought that was the path, like, go save everybody else. And that was an amazing experience. It was incredible. But as I was down there, I realized that they were even happier than the guys I just left from the resort and the planes and everything else. And I was like, we don't have anything figured out. And so I realized that the path that was left was inside. And then I started doing breath work. And when I got introduced to breath work, that was it for me, because what happened during those sessions was so beautiful and profound. And the energy release, the downloads I was getting, stuff I was seeing, the visions, I was just like, wow, if your energy can move through you like this, like, wow, like what else is there? And then so that led me to many more modalities like that, like ecstatic dance and sound healing. And each time my body would start to move and have energy rushing through it in these mysterious ways, it just gave me more confidence that there was more to look at here. And that's when it led me to plant medicine. And then once I started doing high dose plant medicine, I mean, that just cracks you open in ridiculous ways. And so that was it. It was an awakening from my own previous tribe saying, hey, this isn't your path. So it was that friction. If you go back to the beginning of the conversation, it was like, I ran into the wall and it's like, this isn't for you. Yeah. And so, I had to go back, as Eric Godsey says, it's like that third act. I had to go down that mountain that I was climbing, go into the void. There was definitely moments where I was like, what am I doing? What's the way here? This feels like the pit of despair, right? The dark nights of the ego. I don't call it dark nights of the soul, because now I realize the soul is pure and just love. So it was dark nights of the ego and what are you doing here? And is this really the way? All the time you have recruiters phoning you to come back to the other mountain, right? But then I started to really find new tribe and find the others that had gone more inward. And then I realized, okay, there's a path here. And the more work I did, the beautiful thing was I started to feel like I had to abandon that other life completely and everything I had built. And what it does is it actually brought me right back. So I don't even believe life, like as you climb that spiritual inner mountain, it's like a spiral, right? And it's like, so my Groundhog Day started bringing me back to my old life. So I tried to go away for a while and do that. I'm just going to hang around, the other wizards and shamans and only do spiritual work every day. But it started pulling me back into, the world that I was previously in. And then what happened is I started taking more medicine to find out, why did I live that life first? It doesn't feel like I'm meant to just let it go. And what it showed me was, no, you went on that path because you're meant to turn around and shine the light for everyone that's still there going up that mountain. And it's like, they know you, they trust you, you speak their language. So they're going to be able to hear you now. There's some already that have recognized that their drum beat is now getting loud and they need the guide and the proof that it's okay to come down that mountain and climb the other one. And so that's when I started realizing, whoa, business and startups and innovation and CEO life, it's just another way that we're expressing our consciousness. It's just another art form. And so once I realized that, and you can reprogram your consciousness, but still express through all these modalities that we've constructed in life, that really gave me the peace and the confidence and the courage to go back to that world and say, hey, there's some directionally right things we were doing, but that void and that drumbeat you feel, it's because you're still living as your lower self. And it's like, you're just trying to become the highest version of your lower self.
Yeah. But
you can be the highest version of your higher self. And I'm starting to understand how to get there. Do you want to walk with me as I keep walking too? And then the minute I started doing that, then more tribe shows up and they light the way for me. And so it's like this cycle of, as I climbed that other mountain, I started to realize it's more beautiful over here and you can light the way for others. And I think that's what we're meant to do. It's like,
yeah,
it's like we're going deeper to turn around and light the way. And you must do the bi-directional. That's why it's the collective. To rise together, it's like, it may feel lonely until you find the other misfits, or in our case, you find the other fit for service, right? And you realize, oh my gosh, there's lots of us. And then we go back to our old worlds after a retreat, and then we get rocked because we're like, uh-oh, they can't hear us,
yeah,
right? But what I realized is like some of them can.
Yeah.
And some of them can because they're just another version of you. And so what I realized is that's the bridge. It's like, turn around to the path you already walked. And some of them can hear you and some of them can't. And that's also frustrating because it's like, I want certain people to hear me and they're like, dude, we don't understand you at all right now. And that's okay. Yeah. I had to learn that. But they, more and more can. And so that's what it was. It was hitting that friction, at the same time being way more open to going inward because the other paths got closed. So that was, in hindsight, beautiful. Were there days there where I was dropping F-bombs? Like, yeah, of course I was, right? Because it's like we fight our own path, right? But that's the point, right? And then when I embraced the path, wow, did it open up magically. And then the people that I needed started to appear. And that's what I've noticed. And so that allows me to follow the nudges now, because I ran into a wall and I didn't break through it. I didn't persevere. I didn't do resilient. I was like, wait a minute. Maybe the wall means actually turn around and go a different way.
Yeah. And I think so many people chasing that goal, that's somebody else's goal, which is the money and and jets and all of that. And you reach it and you realize when you reach that one that you've already been there, that you did that at your college graduation. You did that at your first promotion where it lasted like 5 minutes and all of a sudden I feel empty again.
That's
like
right.
when is this stuff going to start lasting? Because there isn't any actual intimacy or connection there when you aren't in your higher self, when you're not doing what you were meant to do, what you love to do. When it feels like work, it's probably not the right thing for you. And I think most of us have been told that that's too bad. Work is just work, and you have to make money, and there's no way that you get to live your dream and do a job or a dharma that you really love, and that's just not true. And
but one of the things that came up at Fit for Service was the how dare you, right? It's like, how dare you dim your light? How dare you play small? And that's how I think about these things now. It's like, how dare I not clear off my tower and stay in my modality and stay in my dharma? Like, how dare I? Because what if I don't? I'm doing a disservice. And so when you hit the friction, how dare you go into something that isn't in your flow? Because two things are happening then. You're not in your flow, which means you're not serving as best as you could. And you're now preventing someone else from serving as best as they could. And once I really understood that, I was like, wow, okay, I get that. And it was so fortunate for me to be around people that had climbed the ladder faster and better than I did, to see success that we deem success at the pinnacle of pinnacles. Like, it's so blessing that I got to see it before I had to spend another decade chasing it, because it allowed me to turn around. It allowed me to turn around. And so, like, I see this all the time. Another friend of mine phrased it, but on the weekend I was at an event with 500 people. We doing a cold plunge and sauna and breath work together. And one of the young guys there, he's so into this already. And he's looking at me and he's thinking, you're so wise, and he wants to be around and get, downloads from me all the time. And I just like, hey, you're the time billionaire. Like, you're 24.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're already on this path. I'm like, this is amazing. It's like, you're doing so great. And
I want to see more of that. Yeah. Young
Totally.
people who have so much time.
There's something about the middle age, like, I'm the cliche, I get close to 50 and it's like suddenly you can actually see that the other mountain even exists.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 40, so I started this at probably 37. And I feel lucky, like I'm younger than many that started. So let's talk about Playce. That's is that your next?
The first place. So as part of, again, like, Aubrey talks about this too. When the medicine talks to you, when you're under plant medicine or you're in the downloads or breath work or whatever, it's like, I get these downloads, I write them down, or I send myself voice notes, and it's like, what's that through line that keeps coming? And there's been one that's just been getting louder and louder and louder. And it's been across multiple different types of modalities and a whole bunch of different types of plant medicine. And it's the same story, that we need a gathering place, a new style of temple. And if you look around, I'm always attracted to big cities, like my whole life, right? Like, I've always said my favorite city is Tokyo. A lot of people don't pick that, but I was just so fascinated by how so many people can live there in this harmony. And growing up in Toronto, which is one of the the cities with the most towers being built. I think they're second in the world next to Lagos, Nigeria, right? So it's very vertical. And and I went away to start looking for all these masterminds and retreats. You get into that vibe of, I can't be in the city now because I'm a wizard. And at the same time, right, I'm getting the messages. It's like, no, shine the light there. And what I've started to realize is, look at what we value. If you look at the temples or the buildings in each city, it shows you what we really value, right? What's the idols that we value? Banks. And so in Toronto, it's all banks. It's banks and insurance companies in telcos, right? It's like they're these giant towers. And seeing that combined with the messages I was getting was that we need a new temple. We need a new gathering place to go and express what life is like on the other side, right? And it's the celebration that it's okay to live as your higher self. It's okay to live in your dharma. It's okay to live an abundant life. It's okay to live without worrying that around the next corner is the darkness, because you've already embraced your darkness and it's a part of you, and it's the gift that got you to where you are, and it's part of you. It's inside of you. You don't need to look for it because you're walking around with it but you love it. You've embraced it. You've transmuted it. And what I realized is to stay in that frequency requires me to be using those modalities very frequently, really daily. And it's like, where do I go do that? And as I was traveling to Austin, Miami, and LA, and New York, and Montreal, and Vancouver, and Toronto, and I'm in this cycle, I'm constantly looking for tribe. And then when I hang out with them, we're constantly looking to, where are we going to go shake off our tower today and be around the others? And there isn't anywhere to go. And at the same time, I was in Belfast City because, my family's, got a lot of relatives and we're all from Belfast. And it's like that culture completely celebrates drinking. And, I hang out in Austin, Texas, has all these amazing live bars and incredible drinking. And I've stopped drinking. And I was like, damn, like, where can I go? And, you start thinking about how cool it used to be, going to Soul House and places like that. So there's these gathering places I've been part of my whole life. Pulling in tribe is something I've done my whole life. Being to epic parties and places around the world has been something my whole life. But now we need a new one where we can celebrate being on the other side of the inner work. And that's where I started to realize this through line, this download that keeps coming through all the journeys, is to help and use the collective to build the place that we need to congregate and gather at in all the cities, in all the places that matter. Right? So we're not cobbling together to hang out together, because I don't know if it's happened to you, but I really need to be around the tribe.
Yeah.
Because the inner work can feel like such a lonely path, because typically those of us going first, we are the misfits in our tribes that we grew up with or that we currently have in our lives or our own families. Yeah. Right? It's like we're the innovators, we're the misfits, we're going first. And to clear off our tower every day, we need a place to congregate and to do that and to celebrate. And one of my favorite things at Fit for Service is we do a lot of deep work. We go deep, but we also celebrate it, the arrows of it, as Aubrey and Vailana talk about. And it's that. And so I've been to lots of retreat places, but some of them feel like they're a retreat, like they're very dark and there's some sadness there because of the work people are doing there. Mm-hmm. And those are important. But I think what's also important is a place to celebrate and to express. And all the ways we want to express, whether it's getting together to just have coffee or to have high vibe foods or to do ecstatic dance or to do the breath work or to gather and do some of the exercises we do, like the circling or whatever, or
just a real conversation.
Or an epic DJ's in town. And there's going to be an amazing sound healing. It's like, where can we go and do this? And you just know when you walk in, it's like, yeah, okay, tribe. And then that's going to show people that it's worth doing the inner work because the other side is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We forget that part. We want to bond so much over the shadow. It's like we forget the point is to remember who we are, which is to express more from our love frequency, that love is amazing, that life is amazing, that it's okay to be epic. It's okay to have an epic life. And to be the proof of that as we congregate, and then others will look at that and be like, hey, wait a minute. Like that actually looks more fun than what I'm doing in my life. Let me go see what that is. What's this breathwork thing? Right?
Yeah,
and so
it's so funny.
The tower and the bridge. Yeah.
Like going out, dancing, drinking is for some reason, ecstatic dance for me, much harder. Like the first time I've ever done ecstatic dance was in Lockhart at the first summit. So I've only ever danced drunk, and it was just, I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it. But then once I did it, I just went into myself and didn't look at other people and did my own thing. And I was like, oh, this is so amazing. It's so much better than getting drunk and dancing, because when you learn that you don't need a drug to stop you from being inhibited, it opens up the whole rest of your life and potential.
Bingo. Exactly. That same thing happened to me. I was a professional drinker. I don't know anyone that was a better drinker than me. Like I was really good at
it. Same here.
Right. And I'd be known to bust a move too, right? I went to Coachella like 8 years in a row, like whatever, right? Same thing for me. The first time I went to ecstatic dance with nothing, no medicine, I was like, we're doing what? We're dancing by ourselves through music without singing, and like, what? I thought it was ridiculous until about 10 minutes in where I was like, well, actually, no one is paying attention to me. And I'm here. And so as I started to get into it, and then I started to experience the same sort of downloads and energy through my body, like I would get through breath work, and I was like, oh, now I kind of get it. And then the last one we did in Montana was so much fun. Everyone was dressed up.
So fun.
And everyone's just in it and smiling and having an epic time. And while I was dancing, all I was thinking about is there's so many people in my life that I wish could experience this.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's that. And so that's really, that's the next project, is it's that first place, the gathering place for all of us that have gone first, to light the way for everyone else. But we have to keep our lights bright. And the way to do that is we have to stay in the modalities. I know that. I slip out of mine all the time. Right. And it's like, well, where do I go? And when I'm traveling so much, it's like, where can I go? And so, they always say at startup, you should build the product that you want, that you're going to actually use. So I'm customer one of this because I need it myself.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I get way into shadow work because it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it in my bedroom and I have a lot of it to do. But also when the weekend comes or I have time off, or I'm like, okay, I've spent too much time by myself this week. It's time to go outside and see the sunshine and interact with people.
Yeah.
There isn't anywhere to go.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to go get drunk. I'm tired of that. And eating, no, not for entertainment so much anymore. Sometimes, but not all the time. And so it's like, there's this place in Rancho Mirage. I'm in La Quinta, which is kind of near Palm Springs. And it's called Sunnylands. And every Friday, I guess it was the owner of TV Guide, his estate. Every Friday they have free yoga outside in this beautiful garden area, grass area. And I found out about it the 2 weekends before they shut down for the summer, because it's too hot here in the summer to be outside. And so I got to go to that for two Fridays. And then I was like, okay, back to square one. Right. Now where?
Now where? So exactly there. And by the way, we're definitely putting one of these in Palm Springs / Joshua Tree, because one of my favorite places on the planet. My son and I love going there. And because I went to Coachella there so many times and partied and ripped it up in Palm Springs, but then would go to Joshua Tree for a burst of spiritualism in between the chaos of being in both weekends of Coachella, that the beautiful irony would be to go build that there and to have, another place that just represents being on the other side of celebrating life.
I haven't even been to Joshua Tree. It's not far from me, but there's also just nothing in La Quinta, like a little further. La Quinta is where Coachella is.
I
know Indio, but it's right there. Yeah,
exactly. I love that whole area. And well, I can tell you this. Last year when I asked my son where he wanted to go for March break, he chose Joshua Tree of all the places in the world as a teenager. Yeah, because you can feel the energy there. And, kids are way more tuned into this than we are. And there's something magical about places like that. That's why we're drawn to it.
Oh, I'll have to check it out then.
You have to go. Yeah.
That's cool. So when you are envisioning this place, what are you seeing? What are you doing there? I mean, we kind of talked about it, but specifically.
The downloads, as ridiculous as it may sound, but it's getting less and less ridiculous sounding. It just sounds epic to me now, is to base it on the 7 chakras. And that, assuming the building can handle it, imagine, 7 floors where each floor is representing each of your chakras, and that the celebration on those floors can mix in with that, whether that's the patterns that we use, the music and frequency playing, the type of modality that matches that, the color scheme, the design, etc.
That's cool.
It's also representing that we need to be in that full alignment, and that expression comes in many different ways. And that's one of the things that I've really had to learn, because I definitely went through that spiritual egoism trap that some of us go into, where it's like, oh, I'm more spiritual than you. And so therefore, if you're still in capitalism, business, and that bad stuff, I can't hang out with you, when the whole point was to actually realize that we've made up the construct of business and warrior mode and that everything has to be hard, when actually it's just another way that we're expressing these art forms, and that requires to be in full alignment. And so helping people be in that kind of full alignment, and that being rooted matters, being in your sacral matters, being all the way up, it all matters, right? And I've noticed that when I'm out of alignment, man, it shifts out fast. But when I'm in alignment, everything I'm up to flows differently, including the art form of business, including the art form of creation. And so I believe that helping everyone stay in that alignment and express that way, but also to make it playful, that it's like, hey, we slip out all the time. It's okay, but this is where you go to come back. And that, yes, it feels like a lonely path, but it's not, because yes, it's lonely that we all have our own individual path, but there's more and more of us on that path daily. And here's where you can go find some others just like you.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a weird question. Like for me, I find myself, I'm really avoiding doing the thing that I'm supposed to do, which is singing. It's music. And so I do a little bit of it, and I'm like, okay, I wrote a song, or I sang a cover on Instagram. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but really most of my time I'm not. So is there anything like that for you in your life that you're still kind of avoiding, that you feel like you could be doing more of?
Well, first of all, we're on a podcast, so I've only been on a few, and each time I get really great feedback. Or when I'm gathered around people or holding court at the table or whatever, I definitely get that. When's your podcast? When are you going to do your podcast? So that has been coming up a lot, especially from Lockhart to Montana. There's definitely a lot of, hey, where's your podcast at? So that expression of that for sure. And then the other one that keeps coming up is, when is your own clothing line coming out? When are you going to express through that? Because everyone just assumes I already do that because of the way I generally dress, which to me, yes, but to me, it's not like, it's always even now at 50, when people are like, wow, like I really love how you dress, I still do this kind of like why? Because to me, it's just me dressing, right? Like, it's just like, I just express this way. And you can go, my mom loves to show my old baby pictures. I have dressed differently typically than everyone since I was, in grade school. It's just a thing. But one of the things I've noticed during, kind of this inner work is there's stuff that we're meant to clear. And there's stuff that if we don't clear it, we're literally leaving it for our kids to clear. And I feel like, once we're aware of something we're meant to clear, it's really on us, or they're going to carry it too.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that, some of the ways that I've always dreamt of expressing, isn't it interesting that my son is already doing that? And then when he does it, it's such a wake up call to be like, hey, like, you're not expressing that way, even though it flows through you. So he just started his own clothing line with his buddy, and it's awesome. And I love it. And I was like, I did that because I did that when I was in high school, but I never took it anywhere. I've actually done it more than once, where I kind of started it, like you, I kind of wrote the song, right? And so the real question, I guess, back, for both of us would be, when it only feels like kinda, are you being truthful that you're done with the expression? Or is there some lower self loop that's like holding us up? I think we both know the answer, but that's what
I mean, for me, it's like, for me, it's always, well, that's not going to make you money. You look at the bank. That's your idol.
Right.
So
there you go. Well, I haven't heard this song, so I'm excited to hear it.
Oh, I have many, but I just don't ever put them out there. It's funny.
There you go.
Yeah.
The cosmic joke. Well, look at it as just another way that you're expressing your consciousness. And so recognize that when it's coming through music, that's awesome. But whether you like it or not, it's coming through everything you're doing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny that we think we're hiding.
Yeah. So the question then would be, if you're blocking the expression of the music coming through you, telling yourself that because you have a different idol for that expression, where else are you doing that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because again, our consciousness sits above these personas and modalities and stories that we've made up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Again, to go back to the fundamentals is we started in this perfection, this love frequency, the one, the collective, and then we layered on these stories on top. And that's really what I believe life's journey is. It's like we collect all these things. Some of them are handed to us. I really feel like just from some of the ridiculous inner work I've done, that some of it seems to have come from someone else. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe ancestors or DNA, like it's just like I'm experiencing something that I have not experienced in this go around. So I don't know where it came from. It's in there. And it's like it's layered in there. And I believe we're here to burn it off.
Yeah.
And we, and that's where I think some of these ancient religions, they have these themes. And that theme of like burning off your karma or burning off your story, burning off your shadow and transmuting it into the light. And I believe that's how we uncover our dharma. It's like it wants to shine through, but then all the friction in the stories get layered on top. And we think we're the victim of it when actually it's there for us to make us stronger so that when it does burst open, our light is so strong, which is just like bursting through the egg, which is like going from the chrysalis and bursting through to the butterfly. And it's like you start to realize that when you're in that victim mode, you don't understand why there's a shell.
Right.
But then when you break through, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's why that was there. So remember that we're supposed to fly.
Yeah. It's funny just catching yourself with all these distractions that you're putting in front of yourself. Like today I did it a couple times. Like, what are you doing? What? You know what you're doing. Why are you doing it again?
Yeah.
It's funny.
And so something that really helps, and this helps with the people that I'm coaching, is to like go back to self. So when you're in that questioning or the efforting, or it just feels like you're getting the non-preferred reality, is to go back and recognize that the order is when you're stumble, when you're in the shadow, when you're in the wobble, whatever word you want to use, when you're getting friction, when you're experiencing throughout your day, I'm not really enjoying this moment. Recognize that it's a lesson for you, and you already have experience that even the worst things that have happened to us, there's some light and lesson in there. Even if it was horrendous, there's something in there. And so that even if you're experiencing it now today, or you're in the wobble, or you catch yourself being full of shit, just go back to what you know. The fundamentals is, okay, wait a minute. I know what to do here. Clear off my tower. And so that's where it's like taking that pause to go do that. Helping people switch into that mode has been so transformative, including myself. So it's like, get your hands off the keyboard. Do not respond. Don't send the email back, right? So like, take your hands off and go for a walk. That's what I need to do, right? That's mine. And so one of the things I actually do for everyone we're coaching is like, some of them we have to block off time to go do nothing.
Yeah.
To go observe what's magic about your life. What's magical and humorous about the lessons you've been receiving this week, right? Where's the magic in the wobble, but also where's the magic in the field? So like, where's those synchronicities that are inside jokes to you, or synchronicities in moments? And I've learned to do this so much that that's how I live now. That's why I've been going to all these places around the world, because I'm so open to listening for the whisper, the omen, the nudges. I call them the nudges. That's what's pulling me to all these different people and events and places. It's because I'm listening for them.
And when you're listening, you don't have
to
do as much work. You don't have
to. So I loved Tim Ferriss, if you know him, because he used to talk about the minimal effective dose, or the 4-hour work week. That's that guy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
He's very into hacking life and looking for cheat codes. Well, I was a lazy student my whole life. I love doing nothing. So I've actually been training myself to do nothing, which is great. It's like I'm a professional lazy. So if you want spiritual laziness, the best way to do that is to clear off your tower and be still. And that the stillness has a reward. And it's actually easier to be still and receive the messages and the downloads. If you're willing to act on them, then you have to add courage to that. That's where the effort actually turns on. So there's effort in being still, there's courage to be still, and then the effort and the strength to actually follow through with the nudges, the downloads, the messages, even when they seem absurd.
And the more you do that,
yes,
the more it reinforces that you should keep doing that.
bingo. And that when friction shows up, it's showing you, yes, but not this way. Go a little bit back that way.
Yeah.
Versus when you get the friction, you know, because I've done this before too. It's like you start doing this stuff, you get some friction, you're like, well, it doesn't work, then I'm not doing any of this. It's like, no, the friction is the gift to say a little bit more that way, a little bit more to the left. Yeah. And then you start to realize it's actually easier to follow the nudges and to listen to the whispers than to not. And it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Because we're taught to warrior mode, climb the wall, burst through it, versus no one teaches us the strength of being still and what a gift that is. And if you think about even at in Montana, when we did some combat sports, right? But what did we do before we started our one-on-one fights? Is we were still and honor each person, and to sit in the moment and experience what we were about to do before we did it. There was like strength and honor and courage in that. And then I don't know for you, but it was super fun fighting. I loved it.
I never got around to it.
It was amazing. I was surprised how much the world stopped and how much it brought out in me, and how much I felt like this bond with the other.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah, it's like being in ceremony together. It was really, really cool. But it was also showing me, it's like the stillness and action. It's like, I believe we've had it backwards. So it's like, when we don't know what to do next, we try to figure out effort and break through things. And I believe the order actually is, when we don't know what to do next, it's we're not listening to the whisper, we're not listening to the nudges. And that's where to shift your action. It takes action and strength. I don't know about you, but being still, listening to nudges is hard. And then integrating them is the hardest part, which is why we collect spiritualism versus integrating spiritualism.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Integration takes courage and strength. And so I actually think that those of us that have learned life by bashing through the walls, we're so prepared for this. We just have to switch where we're putting the effort.
Yeah. And I have noticed that at the beginning, starting to be still and listen, I would start to hear something I didn't want to hear, and I would get in the way, resist, try to change it, try to shift it. And so then I was like, wait a minute. I said, show me what I need to see. I didn't say, show me what I want to see. So I need to get out of the way and just see it.
I love that. So another thing that I've really noticed with myself, because others pointed out to me, is much like what you just said, is the abundance and the return of my energy going out. So when I'm in my, higher self dharma, and I'm serving and I'm really helping people and I'm sending it out, I was blocking so much of the receipt coming back of that, because I wanted the receipt in the way I wanted it, from the people I wanted it, in the way that I wanted it. And the energy and source and God, whoever you want to use, it doesn't work that way. That's the cosmic joke. Right? And it's like, what you put out comes back, but it's going to come back in the way you really need it and how the collective needs it. And surrendering and learning that is actually more beautiful than you could plan. That hasn't always been fun for me to figure that part out. But now that I do, it's like that trust muscle is growing. Right? And it's that when you surrender to the nudges, you're not surrendering in a meek way. It takes strength to trust the wisdom through the nudges, through the modalities, through the whatever it is that cracks you open. Trusting those, taking action on those, but then also be willing and worthy to receive them. I certainly have blocked some of that big time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then also aware that it's around you everywhere, and it's coming in forms that you weren't expecting. And so I would encourage anyone listening to this right now, there is a very high probability that there's gifts waiting for you and you have closed off to them because you want them in a certain way. And they're sitting right there. And there's messages right there. There's nudges and synchronicities that are just surrounded you. And you've turned off your tower from it because you want the receipt a certain way. And so that's why we block off for our the people that I coach. It's like, go for the walk or do what you got to do. But as you're doing it, go into observer mode to observe where the field is in on the joke with you and is showing you all the different messages and nudges and synchronicities. And it can be everything from seeing angel numbers everywhere. That's a fun one. Maybe you see your spirit animal. Some people are into that, but often it can just be a conversation you overhear where they're talking about what you just talked about, or you're talking about what you need, even if you don't even know those people. You'll be at the coffee shop and someone beside you is literally explaining the nudge that you need. Or someone phones you or texts you, or you think of someone out of the blue, or the person that you're just thinking about shows up. This is all the field responding to your frequency that you sent out in front of you because your energy precedes you. And when we're open to receiving it, the nudges are loud for all of us. It's not like only a few of us are getting this special sprinkling of nudge magic. It's like, no, it's like we all have it. But we're so busy in our distracted efforting. We're busy being busy. It's like, we can't believe that it works this way. It's because if you believe in the magic, guess what you got to do to all your efforting?
Stop.
Right? It shadows the ego of I work the hardest. It's like, yeah, awesome. Keep working hard. Effort is amazing. But just switch it over here to the effort of trusting the universe and trusting your energy, trusting your higher self. That equally takes effort.
It does. Just a different muscle group. Smaller muscles, maybe. More effort. When you're used to working the big ones.
Well, the beautiful part is the people that have been the most forcing their way through life, when they get this message, their life takes a rocket ship immediately because they're so used to resilience and efforting, and they're in, right? They're great students of, you know, going for it, playing outside the lines. The other misfits out there, typically we've all been in that perseverance path at some point. It's just now tweaking what you persevere through. And the cosmic joke is, can you persevere your own nonsense to trust the nudges that have been waiting for you?
Yeah. And that's a great place to end. We are over an hour. Thank you for being here. I think this was awesome.
Of course it is. Yeah, it's great. And you're very glowy today. I can see. It's nice to see that you're clearly integrating since Fit for Service. I can tell.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. I'll see you in a few months, unless everybody gets together in the summer sometime.
We'll follow those nudges and see what happens.
There we go. All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.